right, this is probably one of my favorite text structures to teach because I feel it is the most straightforward text structure. This is sequence text structure. So we are going to be working on identifying chronological order of events and sequencing in nonfiction writing today. Just like last video, we are again focusing on text structure, the different types of text structure. Here's a sample for you. We've already done description. We are now on to order and sequence. And the definition of that is that the author provides readers with chronological events or a list of steps in a procedure. Here's a visual for you. It has something that it starts off with, then it goes to the next step, next step, next step. And the events and order of occurrence, instructions are given step by step, order of words first, next, etc. Sequence and order are very straightforward. It's the first thing that happens, the next thing that happens, the third thing that happens, the fourth thing that happens, and so on and so forth. So we are going to dive right into our text structure of sequence. So here is another visual for you. Think of this as a big straight arrow as we are going through everything. And signal words can often include dates. They also can include first, second, third, before, after, next, finally, last, and meanwhile. So again, it's pretty straightforward. There's no way around it. It's just how things happen in order. Moving on to our guided reading sample. So I'm going to read this sequence passage to you. When we are done, I am going to use these bars right here. Hopefully they work for me. My last video, they were kind of glitchy. We're going to take these bars and move them under the signal words, and we are going to try to identify at least 4 signal words. Then we are going to type what we feel makes this passage a sequence passage. All right, I'm going to read it to you, and I'd like you to follow along. Here we go. How does a first-time author actually get his or her book published and displayed on a bookstore shelf? It can be a long and difficult process. First, the author needs to have a complete manuscript that potential publishers can read and review. Second, the author needs to find an agent who is willing to try to promote their book to publishers. Most publishers will only accept manuscripts submitted through an agent. They will not look at manuscripts sent directly from an author. Once an agent has agreed to promote a manuscript, they send it to a number of publishing houses. An editor there will skim the manuscript and decide fairly quickly whether they are interested in it. If the editor is excited about the book, he or she will share it with coworkers to see if they are equally enthused about it. If the editor decides that he or she does want to publish the book, an offer is sent back to the agent to discuss with the author. The offer states how much the publisher is willing to pay for the book. If the author accepts the offer, the book can begin the publishing phase. During the publishing phase, an editor thoroughly reviews the manuscript. Once the review is complete, the editor sends an editorial letter to the author, suggesting content changes. After the changes are made, the book is transferred to the copying editing department, where the typos are corrected and the book is designed, paper size, cover, etc. Finally, the book is printed and sent to bookstores to place on their bookshelves to sell. So that is the process that a book goes through to go through the publishing phase. So it's pretty sequential, pretty chronologically laid out for us readers. Some of the signal words that I was able to identify in this reading, the first one was up here, and it is first, right there. Okay, because it's telling me the first step the author needs to have completed. Another signal word that's sticking to me is second, because it's telling us the second step the author needs. Okay, we're looking at our signal words right here. Another signal word that I'm seeing is finally. That's the last one. I thought there was a fourth one. Let me see here. Once the review is completed, the editor's I'm reading real quick to myself. Let's see here. An editor there will skim the manuscript. Editor's excited. Guess I can't really find a fourth one, but I am going to put it under here once the review is completed because that's telling me a step in the process, okay? Once a review is completed, it's telling me the next step in this process of having a book be published. So I'm going to write down right here what makes this book a sequence structure. I'm going to say, or this passage is a sequence structure because it outlines the process and steps a book goes through to get published. Okay. Down here is a passage I would like you to read independently, and I'd like you to use these lines and move them around to identify different signal words. I know there's a lot of lines here, but there are a lot of signal words in this passage. If you guys look, signal words are dates, and if you just take a quick glance at this passage, there are tons of dates listed in here. So one thing I want to let you know is it's not a sequential or a sequence text structure if the dates are not listed in order. So if I had like the year 2015 written right here and then the year 1846, we know the year 1846 was before 2015. So you have to make sure the dates are in order of when they occurred and when they took place. And in this passage they are, but that's just a quick little tidbit I wanted to add for you. So I'd like you to go through and I would like you to use these lines to identify different signal words and then type why it is a sequence structure. The next part of this text structure is the guided practice of writing. Now I went ahead and I typed up a class example of a sequence passage, and I'm just going to read it to you, and then we're going to identify the different signal words. Here we go. There are 4 seasons during the year. We will start with spring. In spring, snow melts and grass begins to turn green again. Animals return from hibernating and birds migrate back to their northern homes. Farmers plant crops in the spring. Next, summer arrives. Weather turns warmer and laughter can be heard in the streets because kids are once again playing outside. Summer is the season of swimming and outdoor activities. Crops grow all summer long. Then comes fall. Leaves drop from the trees and people rake them up. Kids enjoy jumping in the large piles of leaves. Now it is time for farmers to harvest all of their crops. Finally, winter arrives. Snow falls from the sky. Kids sled down the hills and throw snowballs. Some animals hibernate and birds migrate south. Another cycle of seasons is complete. So a few of the signal words in this passage, I have 3 I want to identify. It is going to be, we will start with spring, so it's the first thing they're starting with, okay? Another signal word that I want to identify is then. Oh, goodness gracious, this keeps happening with these lines, I guess. So we have start. We then have, what did I just have? Oh, we have next right here. Oh, goodness gracious. I can't believe these are not working. We'll start. There we go. Start, next, then. Maybe it's better if I just move it around this way. Perfect. I'm just using the arrows on my keyboard. Then, okay. Oh, goodness gracious. I'm so sorry, guys. I can't believe this is happening. If this happens to you, you guys can just type the signal words. You don't have to worry about getting these to work for you because they seem to be kind of temperamental. And then last but not least, finally is another signal word. Okay. Finally is another signal word. So I'm going to say what makes this a sequence text structure. This is a sequence text structure because it lists the different seasons in order in which they occur. Okay? All right. Last but not least, you guys need to type a sequence paragraph of your own. It could be anything, any sequence paragraph, any sequence topic. I do want it to be at least 5 sentences, and I am noticing that I have the wrong text structure up here, description. Imagine that's just sequence, because again, we're focusing on sequence right now. After you type your sequence paragraph that includes 5 sentences, I would like you, to underline at least 3 of those signal words that you used, and then describe what makes it a sequence text structure. If you have any questions, don't be afraid to reach out, but I hope you guys enjoyed this and that this is engaging for you. All right, take care.